In the first two parts of the section number 4, we completed the modeling of an open book along with a cover page, and during the modeling process, we understood about the usage of different modifiers, the correct way to arrange them, and their effect on the geometry of an object. And finally, in this third part of the section number 4, we'll be completing the scene of the open book as we'll be modeling a pair of glasses and will then place them on the open book. So in this scene, we have this book, and before moving to the spectacles, here is a little advice. If this lower part of the book cover looks weird on applying the materials to it, like maybe this can appear to be dark, or if it's having some shading issues, then in that case you just have to switch to the edit mode and delete this entire lower part of the book's cover and then remodel it by extruding and adding the loop cuts. Apart from this, if you want, you can even apply some bevel to the lower part to make this rounded and give it a natural appearance. And to do this thing, I'll press 2 for the edge select mode, and we have to select all these bottom edges. So let's select them, let's change the angle, and now along with these edges, the one on the bottom are also selected. So let's go to the bottom view by pressing Ctrl and 7 on the numpad. Let's zoom out and deselect all these extra edges that have been selected over here. After this, let's change the angle, and with these edges selected, if I press Ctrl B to apply the bevel, then you will notice that the corner of the book's bottom is appearing rounded. Let's also increase the number of loop cuts by using the scroll wheel to make this more rounded, and left click to finalize. After this, let's now return back to the object mode and also turn off the X-ray mode. Now to complete this scene, we'll begin with the modeling of a pair of glasses. We'll be using a very simple technique which is called blocking out, and for this, we'll first add a reference image, or basically the modeling sheets in this 3D viewport. So press A to select all, press H to hide. Let's also place the 3D cursor back to the world origin. So press Shift C. Now the reference image that I'll be using here can be downloaded from the link given in the description. Also, do feel free to use any other reference image also if you want your 3D model to look different from the one that I'll be making here. Now back to the scene. To add the reference image, press Shift A, then go to Image and select the reference image. Now open that particular folder where you save the reference image, and first I'll be adding the front image, then go to the add menu again, then in the image select reference and add the side image. Now with both of the images added, we have to place them properly in the scene so that we can use them for modeling. So first of all, with the front image selected, I'll press Alt R to reset the rotation and then rotate it in the x-axis by 90 degrees. Then I'll select the other image, then for this one also reset the rotation by pressing Alt R. Now rotate this in the z-axis by 90 degrees and then rotate this in the y-axis by 90 degrees. Also, let's slightly move this backwards in the y-axis like this, and for the rest of the part, we'll be making the adjustments later on while working on the modeling part. Now let's go to the front view, and yes, as I told you before in the beginning of this video, our main purpose of modeling these glasses won't be to understand about the topology, but only to complete our scene of the open book. But yes, for some of you, modeling these spectacles can be a good practice if you are a beginner, because we'll be discussing a few techniques that you might find useful in 3D modeling. And now to begin with, we have to use the blockout method to model the spectacles, and so I'll be adding a plane in the scene. So press Shift A, then go to Mesh and select a plane. To make it visible here, let's rotate it in the x-axis by 90 degrees, and let's scale this down by pressing S, then move it and place it over here. Now what we're basically gonna do is to extrude the vertices of this plane in such a way that they form the structure of our spectacle, and we'll be doing this thing just for one of the two sides, and then we'll apply the mirror modifier to get the same on the opposite side. So to begin with, press A to select all, and let's slightly scale it down even further like this. Now I'll select these two vertices and move them slightly in the x-axis to place them in the middle. After this, I'll move these two vertices over here, and throughout this process, we just have to use 2 to 3 basic tools. Number 1 is the extrusion, number 2 is selecting the vertices and moving them and rotating them to give them the perfect shape, and the number 3 will be to add the loop cuts as and when they are required. For example, if I zoom in, then over here on the top, we can have one of the vertices, and for this I can add a loop cut over here by pressing Ctrl R, then left click and drag it over here. Select this vertex, press G to move it and place it over here. Let's also adjust the other vertices so that they're aligned properly, and after this, we'll be ready for extruding some more parts. So let's now select these two vertices, press E to extrude them down in the z-axis like this, then slightly rotate them. This is because the frame of the glasses is circular, and so we need to follow the circular path during the extrusion process. Now let's again press E to extrude. Let's also scale this down and continue the same procedure again and again. Simply extrude, then rotate or scale the vertices down. And yes, it is not at all important to be exactly precise about the alignment of the vertices with respect to the image, because we later on be applying the subdivision surface modifier that will make everything smooth and much regular. Now here on the bottom, we have a curve path where after reaching over here, we'll have a kind of flat surface. So we have to rotate the vertices according to that. So try to keep this part more flat, and also let's add one loop cut over here to adjust everything properly, and now it looks better. After this, I'll again select these two vertices, press E to extrude them like this, and continue the same procedure just like we did before. And now one more important thing to observe is that this blocking out process can be used for almost any object that you want to model in Blender, be it a 3D character, any weapon, any vehicle. You just need to have a reference image or a modeling sheet of the front view, the side view, and in some cases the top view also, and then you just have to add something like a single vertex or maybe a plane and start with the blocking out to create the structure and the details of the 3D model. And by now we have completed more than half of the spectacle from the front side. And after this, I have placed this vertex on this end, and now I'll add a loop cut here, then select this vertex, press G to move it, and place it over here. Now select these two vertices, press E to extrude them again like this. Let's add one more loop cut, move it up, select this vertex and place it over here. Then select this one, place it over here, and at last I'll be selecting the two vertices on the top, press E to extrude them up in the Z axis like this. Select this vertex, bring it down, then select these two, and let's again extrude them like this, scale them down, and just like we did before, simply continue this procedure till you reach this particular end. So let's extrude this again like this, and after one or two more extrusions, we'll be ready to finally merge the vertices on the two ends together by using the merge tool. Like over here, we now have these two pair of vertices that we need to merge together in order to close the loop and complete the structure. So let's first select these two vertices, press M and select merge at center, then select these two and do the same thing to merge them at the center. And with this, we have now done the blocking out for the front part of the spectacle, and to get the same thing on the opposite side also, we'll be using the mirror modifier. So go to the modifier properties, click on add modifier, then in the generate, select the mirror modifier. Now the other side where we applied the mirror modifier might not be properly aligned, but that's completely normal because this drawing that we have added as a reference image is also not completely perfect and can have the symmetry issues. But the one that we got by using the mirror modifier will be 100% symmetrical. Also, if you want, you can go to the edit mode, press A to select all and move this in the X-axis to reduce the distance between the two sides. Also, in the mirror modifier, turn on the clipping option, then select the two vertices on the middle, press G to move them apart and bring them down in the Z-axis. Now after this, our next step will be to give it some thickness, so press A to select all and press E to extrude it backwards like this and left click to finalize. And with this process, this front part, which is for the frame of the glasses, is now completely ready. Also, to make this look better, we'll be applying the subdivision modifier, so press Ctrl 2, then go back to the edit mode and let's slightly move these vertices in the y-axis like this and return back to the object mode. If you want, you can even increase the levels viewport value to 3 or 4 depending upon how smooth and complex you want the structure to be. And now we'll model this stick, or basically the glasses temples, to complete the 3D model. So let's go to the side view, select this image, press G to move it slightly like this, and after this press Shift A, then go to mesh and select a plane. Let's rotate it in the y-axis by 90 degrees, press G to move it and place it over here. Now switch to the edit mode, let's scale it down like this, and we'll repeat the same modeling procedure for this as well. So first of all, with these two vertices selected, press E to extrude them like this, let's scale them down, extrude again, and do the same procedure again and again till you have the entire structure or the shape created for the glasses temples. Now over here, I'll add a loop cut, then press G to move it like this, and again select the two vertices here, extrude them down like this, and with this, we have now completed this lower part also. Let's slightly scale this down like this, and now it looks perfect. Then for this part, I'll select the two vertices here, extrude them like this, scale them down, extrude them again, and do the same thing one last time to complete this part of the model as well. And now let's change the angle, press A to select all, let's slightly extrude this and we'll place it on any of the two sides of the spectacle so that we can then apply the mirror modifier for the opposite side. So I'll move it over here in the X-axis. Now let's change the angle and also hide both of the reference images that we previously added. Now the next thing that I'll do will be to join both of these objects together into a single object so that we no longer have to apply the subdivision modifier and the mirror modifier again to the second model. So with this selected, I'll hold the shift button, select the front part, press Ctrl J to join them together, and by doing this, we'll be having the subdivision and the mirror applied to the stick or the glasses temple. But right now, we have to connect them to the frame, and for this purpose, I'll be turning off the real-time display of the subdivision modifier in the edit mode. So I clicked on this icon, then switch to the edit mode. Let's change the angle, and here we have to do a very simple process, which is to simply merge the two vertices together. For example, let's suppose I select these two vertices, press M, then merge at last, and here we have this vertex merged over here. Similarly, with these two selected, press M, then merge at last. Let's add one loop cut over here so that we can use it to merge these two vertices together. So press M to merge them like this. After this, let's add a loop cut on the top. So press Ctrl R, add a loop cut like this. Select these two vertices, press M to merge at last. After this, with these two vertices selected, press M to merge them at last. Now let's zoom in here, select this vertex and this one, press M and merge at last. Then we'll be adding a loop cut. So press Ctrl R to add a loop cut here. Select this vertex and this one, press M to merge at last, then select these two, do the same procedure. Now let's change the angle, and over here this particular vertex is not merged with anything, so I'll be adding a loop cut here by pressing Ctrl R, then select these two vertices, press M, merge at last, and with this we now have this complete model of the spectacles perfectly ready. But before moving forward, if I zoom in here, then you would notice that this particular face is formed by a total of 5 vertices, meaning that this is not a quad. And to solve this problem, we'll simply use the knife tool, about which we learned in a section number 2 of this course while modeling a pistol. So press K to turn on the knife tool, then select this vertex by left clicking, then move to the other edge, left click and press enter to confirm. This will connect them together with the vertex added over here, converting the n-gon face into 2 quad faces. And after this, let's switch back to the object mode, then turn on the display of the subdivision modifier, and this is how the spectacles are now looking. If you want, you can make any changes that you like in the geometry of the 3D model, but for now, I think that it looks completely perfect. And now it's the time to make the lens or the glasses for the spectacles. So for this purpose, let's go to the edit mode, then select this vertex loop, press Shift D to create a duplicate, right click to cancel the movement. Let's slightly scale this down, press F to fill the face, and then we'll move it backwards in the Y axis. Also, let's give it slight thickness by pressing E, and to convert it into a separate object, the first step that I'll do will be to keep my cursor over one of the vertices of this lens, then press L to select all the linked vertices, press P to open the separate menu, and select separate by selection method. Now return back to the object mode, select the lens and remove the subdivision modifier. After this, let's switch to the edit mode, press A to select all, slightly scale this up like this and left click. And now we are ready to apply some materials to the spectacles and place them on the book to complete our scene. So let's first select the frame, let's go to the render preview mode, then to put on a very basic material to it, let's go to the material properties, click on the new button, then choose any particular color of your choice from the base color and also reduce the roughness value to around 0.3 or 0.4 for a smooth and shiny appearance. Also, let's right click and apply Shade Auto Smooth to make this perfectly smooth. Next, I'll be selecting the lens, create a new material, and in the surface option, change this to Glass BSDF. Also, I'll change the render engine from EV to Cycles, and to ensure that you can see through the glass, simply turn on the scene lights and the scene world in the viewport shading menu. After this, we need to add some lights in the scene, so I'll be adding the sunlight by pressing Shift A, then go to light and select the sunlight. Let's move it up in the Z axis, push it backwards in the Y axis and rotate it by pressing R like this. Let's also rotate it slightly in the X axis to have some more light on the glasses, and to increase the strength of this light, go to the object data properties here and increase the strength something like 2 or 3, and after this we'll be ready to place the spectacles on the open book that we created. So first of all, with the glass and the frame selected, I'll move them up in the Z axis, then press Alt H to unhide all the objects, select the reference images, press H to hide them back. Let's also switch to the solid mode to place the spectacles properly. Now I'll select both the objects, let's go to the top view, scale them down by pressing S, press G to move them and place them around the center. Now go to the front view, let's move them down in the Z axis like this, and after this, it's all up to you that how exactly you want to place these spectacles on this open book. If you want, you can rotate them like this and adjust their rotation and position in such a way that it does not get through the book or its pages. But for now, I'll be going with this position only. Let's switch to the render preview mode, and here we need to have some more lights in the scene to make this look better. Also, we are able to see through the glass, which is because of the glass BSDF node that we added in the material properties. Now to add some lights, I'll be selecting the sunlight, and I think that instead of adding it, we should change its rotation so that it points towards the book and the spectacles, giving us a perfect lighting. So let's go to the top view, press R to rotate it like this, then go to the side view, rotate it again like this and left click. With this, we now have a lot of light in the scene on the book and the spectacles. So I'll bring down the strength value to around 1.5, and here it looks perfect. With this, we also arrive to the end of this video. Throughout the section number 3, we first learned about modeling an open book, its cover page. In that process, our main target was to understand about the usage of different modifiers like the curve modifier, the array modifier, subdivision, mirror modifier, and also about how to arrange them properly so that you get the perfect results. Then we modeled this pair of spectacles by using the blocking out technique and then applied some materials to it and placed them here on the top of the book to complete our scene. And from the next video onwards, we'll be starting with the section number 5 of this course, which is about modeling a sword and then learning about its retopology. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel, press that notification bell so that you can get timely updates about the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching and we'll see you in the next one.